What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show for the second time today on a Tuesday. Breaking news, Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon is the defensive coordinator no more. He has accepted the job to be the Arizona Cardinals head coach. We have the full breakdown here as well as some replacement options coming up in just 1 second. First, thumbs up. After that debacle in the Super Bowl, Gannon is gone. I know you're happy. I'm happy. Thumbs up. Let's go. Okay, NFL.com has the write-up here. It's short. It's to the point, and then we will go to some replacements. Quote, Arizona Cardinals are hiring Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon to be their next head coach. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Tuesday per a source. The Cardinals waited weeks to interview Gannon, which they did on Monday while the Eagles were making their Super Bowl run. Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell announced prior to Super Bowl 57 the franchise would pause its head coaching search until after the game. Once the Cardinals recommenced their search, they wasted no time at having Gannon to be the franchise's next leader. Gannon and the Eagles lost to the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. The Eagles defense led the NFL in sacks with 70 during the regular season, collecting 8 more in 3 playoff games. Gannon's unit gave up the second fewest yards in the NFL last season, ranking 7th in points, end quote. They go on to talk about the fact that there were a lot of people also being interviewed for the job, but we also have talked about on the show, not a lot of people wanted that job. They don't want that job because of the Kyler Murray situation. Gannon clearly coming in and taking the money, first off, congratulations to him on that from a serious note, but also potentially focusing on the defensive side of things. They bring in more of a offensive guru to be the offensive coordinator, whoever that might be, and make him deal with Kyler Murray versus Gannon dealing with him straight up. So, first off, I got to congratulate him. I know that we're all very upset at his performance on Sunday as our defensive coordinator, but anytime you get a chance to be one of 32 in the entire world at something, you got to at least think about the offer and take the offer and be excited about the offer. So, good news for Gannon. We wish him nothing but the best, but I do think change is good for Philadelphia here, and I think his replacement, whoever that may be, is going to be the important thing to go ahead and focus in on, because that person needs to take some of the attributes of Jonathan Gannon, just mention his numbers, right? 70 sacks, 7th in points or in total yards or something like that. They were a good defense this year, but you got to leave behind the bad parts of Gannon, and that is a very stagnant, very vanilla shell defense that gets shredded by good quarterbacks and ones who can especially pick you apart across the middle of the football field like Brady has done in the past, like Rodgers did this year, and obviously Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Okay, so in terms of some other options here, I want to move over to this Pro Football Rumors article talking about exactly what's going on with the Gannon situation. Obviously, they talk about how Gannon has went ahead and was hired and how Shane Steichen is now gone as well. So Philadelphia has some chances to go ahead and fill up that vacancy. And the one thing I want to point out from this article that they say Dennard Wilson. We're focusing on him in 1 second, but they say this, quote, should Gannon end up being the Cardinals' ex-head coach, which he is now, Vacchino? I don't say his name. How do you say his name? Vacciano notes Eagles pass game coordinator Dennard Wilson would make for a natural replacement candidate. Wilson, 40, has been an NFL DB coach since 2015, serving in that capacity with the Rams, Jets, and Eagles. He interviewed for the Browns defensive coordinator job earlier this year, seeing it go to ex-Eagle defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Steichen and Gannon both leaving to make the Eagles the first team to see both their coordinators land head coaching jobs since the 2013 Bengals, who lost Jay Gruden and Mike Zimmer. The Cardinals have been at this head coaching search for a while, end quote. So you hear the name, Dennard Wilson, right? Dennard Wilson is kind of the name that popped up. And I found a very interesting Eagles Wire article that backs that up, but also gives a couple of other names. Now, what's interesting about this article is it came out before Gannon was actually hired, and so this came out, a while ago, which means some of the names you'll see on this list have already gone other places. So we'll just tell you who they are and then axe them. But Dennard Wilson, you see here, makes a ton of sense as sort of an internal hire. We expect it to be the same thing for Brian Johnson on the offensive coordinator standpoint, but Dennard Wilson seems to be the leader. He's a defensive backs coach and obviously is at the age of 40 years old. They say this season he's leading a group that's among the NFL's best and has been a huge part in Reed Blankenship's development as a rookie. So, interesting point there. Now you see Vic Fangio, obviously no longer a candidate. He is with the Miami Dolphins. Had the Dolphins not offered him $4.3 million a year, I think he would have been the pick, but that's not the case, so we move on. Coach Nick Rallis is another option here if you wanted to go maybe a little bit younger. He's a linebacker coach right now for Philadelphia. Obviously, Edwards, Kazir White, Hassan Reddick have been part of his overall regime. 29 years old. He's also the brother of WWE superstar Riddick Moss, Madcap Moss. which is an interesting thing over there. 29 years old. He's very young. If they wanted to go young, he's another option, but Dennard Wilson, the DB coach, seems to make a lot of sense. Now, John Pagano, the Broncos linebacker coach could make some sense here. Obviously, brother of Chuck Pagano, but he worked with Sirianni 2013 and 2016 when they were with the then San Diego Chargers. There's Dave I think I say his name is Borgonzi, I think I say his name. These names are tough today. The Bears linebacker coach is another option here. He was also obviously on the Matt Eberflus staff, and obviously has some familiar with Nick Sirianni during some time with both the Colts and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He also is one of the ones who very much developed Darius Leonard, one of the most productive linebackers in the NFL. You see it here. Okay, Chris Richard, the Saints defensive back coach and the co-defensive coordinator. I don't think Richard's gone anywhere, but he's a hot kind of coordinator name or assistant name that you could float around, but these are kind of more fringe candidates because I think they're going to go internal. Gus Bradley, the Colts defensive coordinator, this is no longer an option because the Colts have rejected his chance to move elsewhere. He will be the defensive coordinator for Shane Steichen and the Indianapolis Colts. Eric Washington, the Bills defensive line coach. He's been with the Bills since 2020 and does make some sense, but I don't see that happening. How about Seth Joyner? Here's a hot name. Seth Joyner is a Jacob Media personality, one of the other sports content creators here on the YouTube platform, and he's a weekly critic of the current defensive coordinator. I don't know if Seth Joyner could, fix things, but as it says here, he often bragged about turning Philadelphia linebackers into stars if he had 6 months. Finally, Brian Flores, he is no longer an option as he is a D coordinator. I forget where he was hired, but he was taken to be a D coordinator somewhere else. So, the most shocking name here is Seth Joyner on this list, but let's just be real. Your two main options are Dennard Wilson, and then I think Nick Rallis, or the linebacker coach, are the most likely internal hires for Philadelphia. Again, this is big news for the Eagles either way. There are going to be some people on Twitter who are going to tell you Philly's crazy for getting rid of Jonathan Gannon because he's young, he's only been a defensive coordinator for a couple of seasons, and he already had one of the better defenses in the National Football League, and that's a fair statement. He not only had the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL the past 2 years, they've been good. The problem that you and I have, who actually watch Eagle games on a week-in, week-out basis at a very, I would say, focused-in level, is that we've seen this is a great defensive scheme from Jonathan Gannon against bad teams and bad quarterbacks. When you play quarterbacks who have good weapons and are competent, a.k.a. the best in the business, Patrick Mahomes, Brady in the wild card round, Aaron Rodgers, this team gets shredded. And you saw it happen again. They couldn't get one stop in that Super Bowl on Sunday. So I think a change is fine. I think a change is warranted. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to not only elevate from within with probably Dennard Wilson, but what his different style will be versus what it was with Jonathan Gannon. And also, one more benefit of hiring from within is a lot of these players probably like the coaches they have right now. If you're trying to re-sign people, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Javon Hargrave, maybe T.J. Edwards, you maybe get somebody that they like as the defensive coordinator instead of signing on with a brand new guy in Philadelphia. So we will keep an eye on this. Things are ever changing. I can only put out so many shows a day, so be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give me a thumbs up for Gannon being gone. I know you're excited about it. I'm excited about it, and I'm very curious to see where we go from here. That's it for today. Thomas Mott Show.